Hi, Tubies. Hello. Just kind of angry. YouTube has told me that my last 2 live videos don't get any ad revenue. How am I gonna pay the rent, you guys? I'm gonna have to go on Patreon and start begging for money. YouTube is my only source of income. Go on my Patreon, buy my stuff, go to my Etsy shop, please help me. No. None of that. Okay? We don't need any of that. And it's okay. It's okay that they delisted them from receiving ad revenue. They swore a lot in them. I'm really sorry for your virgin ears. People didn't appreciate it. And I told YouTube, I said, do a manual review. It's good content. It deserves the pennies that it rakes in. Do you know how much money I make off of a single YouTube video that makes 150 views? 2 cents. You know what that 2 cents is for? That's for my child support. But no, apparently YouTube is cracking down on offensive content. I wonder if they'll demonetize this one. Let's not swear at all in this video. We'll self and bleep it out, right? You see what I did there? We just bleeped it out. So it's gonna be appropriate. Now I know why you clicked. You're like, oh my God, not again. It's 3 nights in a row that you've seen my beautiful mug. I love all of you. Solitary Luna is probably sitting there crocheting, waiting until 10 o'clock to click on this because she thinks that I will be on at 10 o'clock. It's currently 9:16 p.m. for me. I snuck in. Well, first I had to go and smoke a bowl, and then I snuck in. It's kind of like I'm doing a little series here, you know. I just wanted to love all of you. Oh, I'm supposed to be silver. Red Spirit. I'm supposed to be. Okay, I fucking bleached it and I put in the silver hair dye. I didn't do shit. Didn't do shit. My roots are really bad and I'm like, I need to bleach it again, but we're just gonna wait. Not even 3 minutes. Not even 3 minutes for what? Honey, I last a lot longer than 3 minutes. I always use blue-based toner. It lasts longer. Then you swore. Oh, somebody was like keeping track. I totally didn't even see it. I didn't even see it. I really didn't see it. We're gonna keep trying. We're gonna keep trying. Okay, let's try again. I don't think YouTube will be like, no, you make no money from this video because you said, you know. So, Wicca, okay? Stop saying Wicca is witchcraft. Nobody does, but the people that do, stop. It's not witchcraft. You're like, oh my God, yes it is. No, it's not. It's a religion that incorporates witchcraft. Now there is a whole argument around different types of Wicca that are less modernized, where they heavily rely on the use of witchcraft, like the Gardnerians, the Alexandrians. I mean, these are all up here. See what I did there? Yeah, see, even baked out of my fucking skull. Ah, damn. Failed on that one. This just what sounds delicious? Oh. See, you're just distracting me with your Greek food. Okay, so we were getting on topic here because I'm lighting a match and I'm seeing if anybody will pour gasoline on it. I think Lunar Wisdom would call that gaslighting. But I just hear me out. So I've been watching a lot of videos on this subject. Okay, this particular subject. This is a whole subject in of itself on YouTube, apparently, where Wicca is not witchcraft. Now, where I was going with that is I was saying, hey, there are these other types of Wicca that are more ceremonial, more ritual-based, more witchcraft-oriented. And then there are different types of covens and they all fall under the umbrella. Witchcraft is incorporated into Wicca. Wicca is a religion. Which you already knew that. Like, don't be stupid. Like, I'm not telling you something you didn't know. Like, if you live in America, you get holidays for it. Literal holidays that you can take off of work. It is a recognized religion. And you call yourselves priests. And you form congregations, covens, churches. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you realize that you are not witchcraft. It's funny because a while ago I talked about this. I've kind of talked about this throughout the years on my channel a lot. Oh my God, there's so many people here. I love all of you. See, Amethyst, you're a religion. You took it off. Witchcraft is a practice. And therefore, they call themselves witches. It's not a religion. Witchcraft is not a religion. When you start adding elements, like when I see some people on witchcraft on YouTube, see, this is how baked I am. When I see people on YouTube who talk about witchcraft as if it's their religion, I get very confused. Because it's not a religion, but you're talking. What? No. Don't do that. Okay. Witchcraft is not a religion, and Wicca is not witchcraft. Oh, I love all of you. Wait, why are you retracting your messages? That's inappropriate. The more you go live, the more people show up, Cupcake. Girl, I am far too baked for this. Okay, but so I have literally been investigating this. Like, I've been like kind of looking into it today. I should have been working, but I'm having these mental health days lately where I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to work today. No, I still do a lot of work, but it's just, it's lazier. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, I've been investigating the subject on YouTube, watching videos on this concept where Wicca is not witchcraft. And a lot of people are very angry about this on both sides of the fence. And I'm just going to plop myself on whichever team I think is the most controversial. And that's the one that's fucking starting a fire under Wicca's ass. Because you bitches aren't witchcraft. There's a ton of you bitches who don't practice witchcraft. And you're not a witch. You're a Wiccan. You participate in the religion of Wicca. When you start practicing witchcraft, sweetie cheeks, is when you can call your blonde ass a goddamn witch. Now, I got descriptive there in what people looked like. It wasn't actually like going at somebody there. I was just throwing words out there. You need to try capsules, 200 for $90. What the fuck? What the hell are you doing in the chat, Red Spirit? Like, what are you selling? This is inappropriate. I'm just gonna say that right now. Okay. This is their argument, is they get really angry at Wiccans who call themselves witches when they don't practice witchcraft. And all they do is they follow the religious aspects of Wicca. Because Wicca is a earth-based religion, apparently. And it's interesting. It's an interesting argument. It's a fascinating one because it makes sense. Because Wicca is a religion in most parts of the world. Now, there's all these different kinds of Wicca, and that's where the other people are going to get all pissy hissy. No, I swore again. Sorry. YouTube, please just keep it green, okay? I'm a good person. I'm educating people here. I'm teaching. What is Shane Dawson doing? He's making a palette. I'm teaching, and you make my little dollar sign go yellow? Like, what is up with this? Do I need to come down to YouTube headquarters and have a chat with your CEO? I just get so angry. YouTube gives no fracks. But their entire argument and their entire rage, and now my rage, is seems to be targeted at policing, which is not something I'm really into doing, so I'm just going to step back and stab a few of them in the back. Policing who can practice or who can call themselves what, based on how they practice or follow Wicca. So the people who are more religion-oriented part of it, okay, the ones that aren't throwing ritual on Samhain, the ones that aren't casting a spell to bring money to them, the ones that don't, they're like, ooh, that's devil worship. I don't do that. I worship the earth and, I roll around in pig shit. Those people, the earth-based rollers, are not witches. They're not witches. And they're calling themselves witches because they're Wiccan. And you might be asking yourself a very important question here, which I know at this point Lunar Wisdom has been probably asking for the last 14 minutes. Who cares? I don't know, but apparently these people do. And it's interesting to look into that. Because when you think about it, it is true. It is true. You Wiccas are not witches. Well, okay, not all of you. There's a vast majority of you that are actually witches. Now, Why do these people care so much? It seems to be affecting the majority of traditional witches on YouTube, I think. Some people did a video about this. I sound like Omar. Some people did 9/11. Like what? What? But some people did a video on this subject, and they were defining the differences between Wicca and witchcraft, and that got me to thinking, because when you think of Wicca, you think of witchcraft. So is there really any difference? Apparently, yes. Witchcraft is not a religion. It is a practice that incorporates different traditions that were either passed down or that you picked up or you learned along the way. It's a practice that's meant to give you more control of the energy around you and more control over manifestations. It's less of a prey to the feminine and the masculine. It's less of the earth. It's less of the new agey bullshit that it's turned into with your fucking crystals. And it's more of a practice where you stick your hands in the corpse and you rip out the heart, you know. And I can understand their argument now, because I'm really fucking baked, but at the same time, revelations. And now I get it. I really fucking now, like, right as this moment, I fucking hate it when Wiccans are like, I'm a witch. Do you practice witchcraft? No. You're not a witch. It's to Wiccans who don't practice the witchcraft aspect of it and then call themselves a witch. It's some cool, edgy, today hip thing to get their asses some attention. Because ain't no man would look at them otherwise. It's just, it's facts. Oh, you a witch? Calm down, Becky. Buying sage isn't a big deal. Congrats, you spent $4. Motherfucker, where are you getting it for $4? A small bundle up here is like $8. Good thing I go and pre-order from specialty places. It's a fad. It's a trendy, cool thing. You fuckers have taken our name and applied it to your shitty, earth-based, new agey bullshit. When you don't even practice. No, I know you might be wondering. It's like, dude, like, just chill out. It's like, who cares, right? Like, you want to call yourself a witch? Okay, fine, whatever. Call yourself a witch. The issue, apparently, if you dig a little deeper, is that some of these people are coming on and spreading misinformation on YouTube. About witchcraft. Specifically calling it witchcraft when it's not witchcraft, it's Wicca. But who cares? Right? Like, it's a label. Like, what the fuck? You're treating it like I painted my face black and walked into an entire circle of black people and said, yo. Like, what is happening? As I stated earlier, this apparently is affecting, or was affecting, the traditional witchcraft group of YouTube. And I'm just like, what? Why is it affecting you? And one of the other reasons is a very common reason. Your craft is too old and not modern enough. Not accessible enough. It's so 1950s, Becky. That seems to be the complaint. So you get these new ager Wicca Biccas. And when I'm dissing Wiccans right now, I'm not talking about you Gardnerian, Alexandrian, Dianic, the hardcore, ceremonial, true to the roots, old ways of doing it. I'm talking about this new age, fluffy, McGuffey shit that you see on YouTube when you Google witchcraft or Wicca. That's what I'm talking about. They've turned that form of Wicca, which isn't invalid. It's not that it's an invalid. I hear that at times. It's not that it's invalid. It's their way of practicing. But the issue is that they're calling it witchcraft. And then they're telling the people who are making videos about traditional witchcraft that, oh, you're confusing people. Because what you practice is outdated. Now, Solitary, who just showed up in my chat. Oh, hi, girl. I see you. She had this issue at a Wicca Bicca store. One of those little new agey bullshits. And the lady was like, oh, what you're doing is too old. Who the fuck are you? So I could understand where this entire thing started from. And I agree, Wicca is not witchcraft. Okay? If you are a Wiccan who does not practice witchcraft, you, my little fucking Susie, can get your ass back out on that corner because you ain't no motherfucking witch. You ain't no motherfucking witch. Yes. Literally, the entire religion is about feeling the magic. That's what Wicca has evolved over the years. Let me give you you other fucking millennials, because apparently I got lumped up in with the rest of you fuckwits. No, I think we just lost our monetization. Crap. Excuse me, are you a part of this YouTube video? Well, yes. Can you lay down now? You little fluff ball. Oh, hi. So there's this argument of your shit's too old and it doesn't work anymore. So we don't exist is what I'm getting at. The witches who practice, oh, by the way, I know, I'm just off topic again, but listen. Solitary Luna released a fucking video on our channel. So you little bitches need to get over there, okay? You can literally find her by clicking on her goddamn name in the chat. And click on her videos tab. And she has a new firewater video. You fuckers better watch it. Remember that she did offer to sign me up for her class on how to be a modern witch. What is this concept of a modern witch? What's a modern witch? I was talking about how Wicca was evolving now that my stone brain has like looped back around. So let's talk about the evolution and what a modern witch is. So Wicca, you know, it's a religion. Gerald Gardner, like we know this. We know the whole story. We know how Wicca came about. We know what Wicca is. We know that the different types of Wicca. Like, why do I have to get into this? Like, I'm going to skip all of that. Because if you don't know it, and you're on the Wicca is witchcraft argument side, then you're fucking stupid. Really just lost monetization. Don't sit there and start spreading conspiracies. You know, Wicca's moved around a lot. It's become more Wicca for the modern girl type of thing. It's like a 90s cliche. It's use Wicca today to find your man of tomorrow. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, we're not dumb. And you know what it used to be? Naked people and swords and circles and chanting and orgies and taking down Hitler. That's real. That's powerful. That's witchcraft. That's not what Wicca is today. Wicca's not about taking down the president, because if it was, the president would have been taken down by now. A bunch of you are just a bunch of frauds. Oh yeah, I'm cursing Trump. I'm cursing Trump. You're all a bunch of frauds. So we don't have Wicca. It evolved. As the years went on, it evolved. It had to survive. In the 70s, you know, that's when the New Age crap started happening. You know, the crystals and the seeking knowledge, and Wicca got really popular. I mean, the occult got really popular. Is Wicca a gateway to the occult? Well, I don't know, but is marijuana an occult, or is marijuana a gateway to heroin? Because I really want some. I don't think they took down Hitler with a sword and naked. There was something about a cone of power. Okay, I watched a documentary on this. I know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm just, you know. We gotta put these Wicca Biccas in their place. Oh, can you shut up? Like, I thought I turned off the notifications. I miss doing coke. Oh, Jesus. Red Spirit, calm down. Oh, so do I. Okay, so Wicca evolved as time went on. It became more a part of the New Age movement. It became this Wicca 101 or, all that other bullshit that we just went over dramatically. And Wicca isn't what it used to be. And you have these people who have diluted it to its most basic, fundamental terms. Like when books nowadays printed about Wicca talk about doing spellcraft and rituals and having a book of shadows, they start with a 5-page lead-in about how witchcraft is not evil and how Wiccans don't practice black magic. That's the new agey, fluffy. You'll find that in Scott Cunningham. You'll find that everywhere. Because Wicca is a flowery word. It's trash. That's what it is. The word, not the practice, not the religion. I just don't like the word Wicca. It feels like it's witchcraft light. And don't get me wrong, before the haters come for me and they're all like, oh my god, did you even practice witchcraft? I mean, Wicca? Yes. Yes, I did. I didn't get into the more ceremonial aspects of it. I, unfortunately, was a part of the light and fluffy. The Scott Cunninghams, Buckland's didn't come till much later, and when I started reading through that, I was like, Jesus Christ, is this what Wicca's about? Getting naked, tying people up? Like, whoa. Wicca before that, to me, was literally just fluff. And the first chance I had watching Lad Grave Dancer, she was doing witchcraft without the Wicca. I didn't know you could do that. I was like, oh. Oh. You can do witchcraft without what? And then I saw Wicca for what it was. Trash. Just garbage today. Because all I knew was the trash. It wasn't until I started digging deeper and realizing that Wicca is like, it can get complicated, ritualistic, ceremonial, whether you're solitary or in a coven. This shit can get real. And there are Wiccans who practice with cursing and hexing. And they follow their own path that is Wiccan aligned. But they influence it with their own craft. It's a religion to them with more of an emphasis on the craft. There are those Wiccans. I salute you. But then you get these dumb bitches who don't do any magic. And they're like, oh, look at my Wicca altar and my crystals. Why do you have an altar? Do you practice? No, I don't practice. Why do you have an altar then? And then I realized that it's a religion. So it would make sense for you to have an altar, a space to go to commune with deity. Whatever that is. Sock puppet for all I care. But they go around and they call themselves a witch. I'm a witch. I'm powerful. Bitch, you haven't cast a spell ever. Like you were just standing by your altar telling me you don't practice. And it's annoying because they exist. I mean, 6 months down the road, they'll go and find Jesus. Trust me. Might take them a little longer. They may have children and spread the disease on, but you know. I love that. I just called Wicca a disease. It's not the real shit. That's not real Wicca. That's Fluffy McGuffey over there. And it's interesting because Wicca is, or I mean, not Wicca, but witchcraft is, as somebody had stated in their comment on my last video, I only got one comment and I asked a very fucking serious question and no one commented down below. Like, when I tell you people to do something, like, do it. Surprisingly, some treat their altar as a Catholic does their altar. It's a place to honor, not a place to do workings. Well, Red Spirit, you can always watch the live chat back. And Solitary, you came in with that comment too late because I just said all that. But I love you anyways. What's mind-blowing to me is learning about witchcraft. You're like, what? Just shut up and go with me. When you learn about the history of witchcraft, going beyond the witch trials, okay? People think witchcraft started at the witch trials. And then someone says, no, paganism has been around for a long time. And then people say, oh, well, Wicca's been around for a long time because it's a pagan religion. No, paganism and Wicca are two different things, you dumb person. Red Spirit says, no. You got something to say? You gonna correct me in my own live chat? I would welcome that, actually. But I know, right? So, what are we talking about? Oh, yes. I really don't appreciate it when the craft has evolved into this very... Somebody list a clothing store name here. Fucking Wicca 101 place. And makeup kits with sage. Well, alleged makeup kits. And what are you millennials doing? You're shitting all over something that was ancient. Because if you look back, you watch it evolve. As you learn about different aspects of witchcraft that interest you, you watch witchcraft itself evolve. And it just evolved into something that is so easy bake oven. And that's being touted as Wicca, and that's being touted. And therefore, because it's Wicca, that's being touted for witchcraft. That's what people want. Forever Wicca. Leave the 21 off. Forever Wicca. Or TJ Maxx. You know, maybe I should do a fucking makeup palette with Jeffree Star called The Witchy Show. And when I sell my palette, you'll all get a sage stick and amethyst and quartz, because those are the big, powerful crystals in New Age. Like, what is this bullshit, right? Like, what is this? Oh God. Windows moving all over the place. Wicca's not witchcraft. Stop saying that it is. I got the rage. And witchcraft is not a religion. It can't be. It's a practice. It's a personal practice for a lot of people. A lot of traditional witches will describe their practice as very private. And when we think of traditional, we think of things that have been done in traditions. They are done certain ways, but that's not quite true. You define your own traditions, your own ways of doing things. Some of those traditions could be passed down. Like, I don't know, maybe grandma used to leave a fucking sock above the door, and that would signal or that would keep away, you know, the evil laundry man. You know what I'm saying, though, right? Like, maybe she had a tradition and she passes it down. That's generally what I think of when I think of traditional witchcraft. Obviously, it's way much more than that. Like, hello. I see you laughing there, Ravenways. Oh, he doesn't know what traditional witchcraft is. But that's, you know, it's very folkloric. And it's just, it's old ways of doing things. It's easy ways of doing things. It's doing things with what you had on hand, as opposed to going with your long ass fucking nails to fucking TJ Maxx to buy your incense to stop your cheating man from cheating because you got his third baby on the way. Like, honey, if the relationship wasn't fixed after the first baby, clearly you doing something wrong, because now you just trapping yourself. But it's fucking annoying. It just really is. Traditional witchcraft is a base for each generation to build upon. Well, this generation's doing it really badly. And it's not that these people that I've been watching on YouTube are like angry and like viciously attacking specific people in the community. They're attacking this notion that Wicca is witchcraft. They're attacking the idea that it's somehow cool, you know, for these 14-year-old Wiccan girls to be like, I'm a witch. Which leads me to our next topic. I asked 2 people tonight if they had questions. The youngest millennial age is 22. Okay, did I ask for your input? My grandma's methods are ones I use, but at times make minor adjustments too. Okay, you don't just make minor adjustments, Solitary, okay? You call upon the forces of hell. Steal a few souls and mix it into your concoction. Speaking of Solitary, I asked a few people if they had any questions. And Learner Wisdom wasn't feeling up to giving me any questions. I don't know what's going on with her. Rest in peace. Get better. But Solitary did. Inexperienced people get around with things they shouldn't be. That's been covered. Novices playing with lava when they haven't mastered how to light a match. Timmy's gonna get burned. Is magic really that scary? Well, clearly not if you consider yourself a witch and you're one of these New Age Wiccans who don't practice. But you go around calling yourself a witch. So you're just a fraud. You're a sheep in wolf's clothing. But what if you're an actual Wiccan and you want to like cast a spell? You want to do some of the craft. You hear that there are witchcraft elements to Wicca. So you're not just one of the ignorant morons who should be shot. You're one of the few educated people who scratched their little monkey brain and was like, I want to learn. Well, what you don't do is you don't start calling on demons. You've heard the stories. I'm not going to recount all of them. Little Sally Mae playing around with a Ouija board and she calls herself a Wiccan. Honey, this ain't charmed. That shit's possessed. Where do you start? Like, what is your first spell? If I'm not summoning Lucifer, I'm not sacrificing 3 babies that I just kidnapped from the fraternity ward to give up to one demon who will open a portal to Lucifer's cage. Well, he will defile me and then grant me my wish. Where do I begin? That's actually a really great question. Because there is a notion that magic is kind of dangerous. We hear this concept that witchcraft is dangerous. I mean, listen to any of Lady Gravedancer's videos. Some of them she puts this hint. It's dangerous. Just Google it. Is witchcraft dangerous? Don't literally Google it because you're gonna get a whole bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses telling you a lot of things you don't want to hear. Oh, you Jehovah's Witnesses, you are so stupid. With your literal interpretations of biblical scripture. Fake biblical scripture, by the way. Yeah, how does that feel? How does that feel that I just invalidated your entire concept and belief by calling it fake? Just like Wiccans. You're all fake. Okay, the New Agers. The Jehovah's Witnesses are the New Agers of Wicca. Y'all are fake. Magic isn't inherently dangerous. Where do people get this concept from? Have I ever said this? I've given the idea that demons are a little scary. You know, It's late. I'm going to sleep. You do you, girl. I'm pissing off the internet tonight. That's right. I'm going to piss off the witches. There isn't anybody left to piss off, to be honest. But witchcraft is not technically dangerous. Well, yeah. Well, but that's called Darwinism. Country Outlet stated it's very dangerous in the hands of an idiot. Well, would you put a live wire in the hands of an idiot? Okay, don't answer that question, but you get the point, right? Like, at the end of the day, witchcraft is energy that you are manipulating. It's energy that you are manipulating, and there's theories and philosophies and different concepts when you start digging into high magic and ceremonial magic and the theory of magic and the practicality of magic, and like the grimoire stuff where there's essays and just all this information on how magic works at a fundamental level. And at the end of the day, it's just energy. But it's what you do with that energy. It's how you harness that energy. It's how you play with that energy. It's how you massage that energy. That these new age Wiccans, with their fucking tarot cards and their crystals and their sage sticks and their pretenders and their fucking bullshit. Look at me. I'm a Wiccan. I'm a witch. Yeah. I'm gonna shake my ta-ta for you. Like, you're not a witch. But you're calling yourself one. But what about the ones that are witches? Want to be witches? Because as I said earlier, when we think about Wicca, we generally think about witchcraft. So there are going to be some people that are going to filter through and they're going to see that, okay, there's more to this than just religious aspects. Well, your next actual hurdle isn't going to be casting your first spell. At least not in today's society. Back in early 2000s, well, like early 2010s, when the internet was like really just, ooh, girl, we're going places now. Back in those days when there were still forums. You guys remember forums? Remember those little forum messaging boards you would go to? You would sign up with a username and a password. You would find topics, create threads. Sally Mae would write nasty comments and there would be huge wars right across the whole forums. And the forums were subcategorized, different topics. Wars, politics, the internet, the good old days. And you'd go in there and you'd ask your questions. But you didn't know that one of the mistakes you were doing was going to a Wiccan forum and asking questions about Wicca, because you're going to find the preachers. Woo, girl. Threefold. Gonna come back to you. Everything you're gonna do. And they try to instill this mindset. This mindset that if you take a shit, it's gonna come back to you threefold. So you're just like, oh my God, what is happening? you wonder, like, do I even want to get into the witchcraft part? They try to scare you away. Oh my god, no, the Yahoo groups. I know. Like, you have to follow the chat when you follow mine because I'm baked and I don't give a fuck about you anymore. So follow the chat. But like, just, I think that Wicca has evolved in the Western. Britain's not Eastern, so, and in Europe they do things. They have a very traditional sense of doing things there. So in America, you dumb bitches have taken Wicca and transformed it into this new agey hippy dippy mumbo bumbo bullshit. You've destroyed it with your crystals and your sage and your hippie lifestyle and your unprotected sex with strangers. Say 3 Hail Marys and you'll be saved. And then, because it's America, you know, you get the whole, what is it called? Right-wing people. Because where does Wicca tend to spring up? In the South, for some reason. Y'all in the South. And you get these preachers. Ooh, they're angry. And then it's funny because you stupid people don't realize that it's not the Christian who lives next door to you that's bashing you, but it's some alt-right Christian who's a moron. But then you label all Christians as evil and vile. So you get through all that. You're like, okay, there's enough fucking drama here. We're just gonna keep moving on. I'd like to cast a spell. How do I do that? What's too difficult? Can I use crystals in my spells? I can't light a candle. What can I use in substitution of a candle? Okay, Red Spirit, calm the fuck down. That's inappropriate. Jesus fucking Christ, where is Little Wisdom? So, so you want to cast your first spell. Well, we don't just throw you into the deep end because apparently magic is dangerous. That explains this New Age movement. Magic is dangerous. Magic isn't something you play with. Magic is secretive and guarded and behind closed doors. Who the hell are you to tell me that magic is some mysterious thing? Bitch, it's just energy. It's flowing through the universe. You're just plucking some out, twisting it into a rainbow, and sending it out God's ass. And you're sitting there all high and mighty telling me magic is dangerous. What's so dangerous about it? Well, the gods and goddesses. Okay, yeah. But wait a minute. Wiccans have a god and or a goddess. They formed a relationship with that god and goddess, so it's not technically dangerous. Because they only have a surface level relationship with that deity. They have the flower and rainbow and the $100 altar relationship with that deity. They have the, oh, look at my candle for Hecate. Look at my incense burner in the shape of a dragon queen or something. I don't know. Draconic Wicca is a thing, okay? Just accept it. I'm sorry, Solitary Luna. The internet has made it a thing. Oh, my goddess likes this on Wednesdays and that on Thursdays. You know, you get all this, like, surface level, substanceless fluff from today's modern hip Wicca for the single 90s girl. Wiccan. You get this trash, as I like to call it. You get trash. You get trash. But we already knew that. We knew that. So, like, move on from that part. Like, we knew that. Like, this is not news. This is not news at all. Today's Wicca is trash. Did my fucking light bulb just burn out? Motherfucker. That's racist. That's really racist. Witches do worship the devil, and we do sacrifice children, Solitary Luna. Jesus Christ, get your facts straight. The Wiccans are coming for you. The Wiccans couldn't come for me even if they all jacked off at the same time. Wicca is not witchcraft. Witchcraft is not a religion. And magic is not dangerous. It's energy. And those of you who are these surface level Wiccans, there's nothing wrong with being surface level. It's just when you talk about it like there's so much depth to your tiny little surface, it paints the conversation as that's it, that's all there is. I have formed a relationship with Hecate because I've been watching Sun, River, Moon, Dance, Queen 137, Queen of Witches. And I've spent thousands of dollars on my surface level altar, where when I sit at it, all I do is wave sage around and touch my crystals and feel empowered. And I've spent 10 grand on this thing. And now I'm really inspired, so I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to make videos about my surface level practice. And I'm going to be a part of the whole fucking conversation around how this is what witchcraft is. Yeah, I might have exaggerated the price of the altar and all the stuff on it, okay? Just, calm down. But it's all surface level. Today's modernized version of Wicca is surface level witches on YouTube and social media with elaborate decorations of crystals and spices and candles lit, and the witchy glow about. And you bury the rest of us. And I hate you. I do. I understand now why traditional witches. But you're still like, hello, hi, still waiting to cast my first spell. Well, go ahead. Pick one. Do it. Cast your first spell. Start typing into Google. Start looking up YouTube videos. I don't want to sacrifice Wiccans because they come with all this like weird fucking energy. Have you ever been around a Wiccan? Oh my god. Like not a lunar wisdom Wiccan. But like a Wiccan out in the wild. Not a Pokemon wisdom. Like not a Pokemon Wiccan that you've captured and trained. But an out in the wild Wiccan, spiritualist, a worshiper of Earth. She's all like, I got a YouTube channel and I talk about witchcraft and I practice witchcraft. What kind of spells do you do? Can you teach me spells? So you end up watching her like YouTube channel and all she's teaching you is how to raise your vibrations. Girl, if I raise my vibrations anymore, I'm going to crack the ceiling. Where's the witchcraft? Well, that's where you got to decide what kind of witchcraft you want to practice. Because there's so many fucking different types of witchcraft out there. There's crystal witches. They're a thing. And they're not new agey. They're an actual thing. There's elemental witches. Dragon witches. Kitchen witches. Hedge witches. Herb witches. There's even a group on Facebook known as the Basil Witches. I'm like, okay. You all worship basil the plant? There's left-hand path and right-hand path and upside-down hand path and middle finger path. There's necromancers. And cannibals. And necrophiliacs. There's pop culture witchcraft. That's a thing. There's traditional British witchcraft. The OG. There's various forms of paganism with spiritual elements attached to it. It's not necessarily witchcraft, but it's a paganistic, ritualistic kind of way of doing magical offerings. You know. Witchcraft is old. Witchcraft is a bit mysterious because we can't define it. Remember last night's video when I asked you to define witchcraft and not one of you followed through and wrote in my comment section? I gave you an assignment and you didn't follow through. Somebody put an F in chat. The F is for failure. Anyways. Witchcraft is hard to define because it is a deeply personal thing to everybody. It's different. As you start looking around on YouTube for other resources on how do I cast a spell, like for God's sakes, I have been having this demonic voice in my head explaining all of this to me. And I still haven't cast my first spell. Well, no, you're not going to, because I'm still explaining things to you. So, as you start digging a little bit deeper, you start finding a more specialized approach. For example, go and type in traditional witchcraft into your YouTubians. I'll wait. Why should we give all the wise preacher man the answers when he already knows them? Because, Solitary Luna, if you would have watched that live chat, you would know that I would not have all of the wise answers, you smartass. Jesus fucking Christ. Somebody fetch me my cauldron. It's time to slap a bitch. Could you imagine me and Solitary whipping magic back and forth, getting crazy? Ooh. A child. Anyways, so. I like how the chat got like, what's going on? And Solitary Luna's like just sitting over there laughing her ass off. Like, you guys wanted me to do a live chat. Don't lie to me. So what you get is what you get. Okay. Now, I was in the middle of telling a story about a guy who was possessed by a demon that is telling you all about witchcraft. Okay, we've been doing this for 3 episodes now. Follow the thread. It's a very complex plot line I've decided developed here. Okay, developed. So, as I was saying, witchcraft, as we know, is energy. Magic is energy. So when you're, trying to figure out, okay, well, what kind of witch am I? That's the other thing is that there's this big push on labeling yourself. Like, you don't need to label yourself. Like, who the fuck is out there labeling themselves? Like, who's sitting there scratching their cooch right fucking now, being like, I'm a kitchen witch. Do you get off on that? Like, is that all you do? There's nothing wrong with being labeled as whatever type of witch you want. Like, if you want to be labeled as, like, a Gardenarian baby sacrificial demon summoning magic witch person, then great. We'll fucking label you as that. I don't care. I'll help you. This video has been so demonetized at this point. Like, we could be whatever kind of witch you want. You don't have to label it. So that's the first thing. But if you don't want to label it, then how do you know what to do? Because when you're going down the Wiccan path and you want to go down that witchcraft aspect of it, you've got to figure out what kind of witch you want to be. What kind of witch do you want to be? Do you want to be one of those fraudulent little bitches who gets on YouTube and 6 months later she's got a fucking Patreon? You know. So you've been Googling and you found various different types of paths to go down. You could be a hoodoo. You could be a hoodoo. Hoodoo. You could technically do hoodoo. Just hear me out. Hoodoo is a practice more so than it is a religion. Witchcraft is a practice. You could incorporate, in a very respectful manner, hoodoo into the religion of Wicca. This is a theory. I'm not suggesting anybody goes out there and tries it, but, But my point is that when you're trying to figure out how to cast a spell, you got to figure out what kind of witch you want to be. And to figure out what kind of witch you want to be, you got to think about what kind of topics in witchcraft you're interested in. Do you like cursing and hexing? Like working with demons? What about angels? Saints? Christian ideology? Philosophies? You just want to worship the earth? Do you want to practice more traditional means of magic? More simple, what you have on hand type of magic? Yeah. And when you figure out what that topic is then you just dive into it. You dive into that topic and you explore everything you can find out about it. Research everything. And then you figure out how they, in that particular type of topic, do spells. Because every type of witch does spells differently. I like to use my candles. Dress them up in oils. Dress them up in herbs. Call upon demons. Say powerful incantations over them. Read scripture over them. Get shit happening. But the witch who's on YouTube that lives down the street from me, if there was such a person, the way they do spells is differently. So you got to figure out how you want to do your spells. Do you want to do them complex and elaborate and ritualistic and lots of puppetry and pageantry and just happiness? Or do you just want to do them simplistic and easy? Like what you've been hearing about people on YouTube, their grandmother. I like to use a mirror, cut my hand, open a loo, and just call forth my guardians to work my energy. Okay, Jesus Christ, Red Spirit, we have had this conversation. You are beyond that shit. Aside from Mr. Creepo over here, we don't all do that. But some of us apparently do. And others go around to people's houses looking for fresh diapers that have just recently been thrown out, and they whip them at other people's cars while chanting in archaic languages that don't exist. Just gotta figure out like what kind of way you want to do your magics. Experiment. Should I start easy? Well, what do you know? Do you know how to astral travel? No, they say that's dangerous. Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's not dangerous. You won't get lost. Depending on your interpretation and how you view the astral plane, people say that if you're inexperienced and you go to the astral plane just willy-nilly, that you could risk bringing something back with you. Yes and no. Like if I go to the astral plane and I call forth a new demon who brings a bunch of legions along with him, I'm going to make sure I cleanse myself on the astral plane before attempting to reconnect with my physical. But if you're just going to the astral plane because you're going to the astral plane, you're fine. And most witches, most Wiccans, one of the things that they'll teach you the first thing on YouTube is how to cast a circle. Thrice round, evil sink into the ground. And they draw their little circle with their salt and their pendulum. And they're like, I'm burning sage. Oh, I cleanse the space. But what they don't realize, these fluffy little surface level hogs, what they don't realize while I'm bringing them to the slaughter is that what you're teaching people isn't the whole story. You're creating a magical space on a different plane of existence to do your magic in a safe, consecrated area on that other plane of existence. So technically the astral plane isn't dangerous. That would be my recommendation for you for your first spell. I also go to the astral plane solitarily through meditation, trance-like state. Pop on over, do my magics, hop on back, spend an hour trying to reconnect with my body, depending on what I was doing over there. Some religions believe casting circle is to make a portal to let your magic enter this realm. Well, I don't know, and I don't want to discount. What I will tell you is very simple. It is the theme of today's video. Modern Wicca is nothing more than New Age trash. It is the most boiled down, simplistic view of what Wicca is. And my advice to witches, stay away. It's as bad as Silver Ravenwolf. It's horrible. It's the new thing that New Agers have gotten their hands on. And it's not necessarily new because they've had their hands on it for a while. But with the advent and popularity of social media, they're taking over. They're spreading this misconception that Wicca is some peace, love, light, rainbow orgy. And I hate to break it to you, but it's not. It can be. Go ahead. Girl, I'm not here to tell you how to do your craft. If you want that, go ahead, do it. But those of us, or those of you who are watching this, who have decided to watch this because you're batshit insane, will realize that Wicca today is New Age trash. It's garbage. It's filth. You're not even witches. You're forever 21, 14-year-old girls waving sage sticks around, pretending to be something you never were and never going to be. You disgust me. And when you get past the disgusting trash and start asking the questions that we've been discussing all night, what kind of witchcraft do you want to practice? This Wicca's just a shell. You can put it around anything almost. You could probably be a ceremonial magician who's also a Wiccan. Which wouldn't be too far off from Wicca's roots. When you find it, then you start answering your question of how do I cast my first spell? Because you know how to hone in on it, find the resources that you need, the research. Now we've had the discussion of research. We have talked about it ad nauseum. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, I'm going to have to do another live video tonight where we try and get it as a green dollar sign, and then I'll make a community post when we finally get a green dollar sign, and I'm like, okay, we're monetized. Thanks, I'll buy. Gotta make rent this month, yo. I need those dollar bills from YouTube. People don't like to do the research. We've talked about this. I'm not going into this again. I swear to you, I'm not. It's nauseating, I know. So they go to Facebook groups and YouTube. I swear I'm still not talking about it. And they ask stupid questions, or they severely overshare their life, and you realize that it's another broke, tragic scar coming to witchcraft. Just making a pit stop in Wicca land first. Or maybe they'll find Jesus and become an alcoholic. We'll see how it plays out. That's how I watch. That's what I think of these posts. It's literally my thought process. So they start asking in places, and you get the ones that do it appropriately, right? Like the not so stupid ones where they're like, hey, I was reading this and then I was watching your video and you were talking about this, and I'm wondering if it's the same way or if it's different. Right? Like, that's educated. So I want you guys to start thinking, because there's 11 of you, of some witchy questions. And I want you to flood the chat with all your witchy questions. And I'm going to spend some time with my tubies answering witchy questions, throwing shade. Oh, I have news. I don't know if I discussed this last night with you guys, but I did some investigating when I was investigating the concept of traditional witches on YouTube, disliking the idea of modern day Wiccans calling themselves witches when they're not witches. We just spent like the last hour and 20 minutes talking about that. Need to hit rewind. My batteries are dying, guys. I need to go and get batteries for my vape. So y'all need to seriously start thinking of all of your witchcraft questions and start posting them. Because when I come back, we're going to talk about those. Okay. I'll be back, little sister. I'll be back, little sister. Think of your questions. Ugh. I'm back. There's no questions. God, I fucking hate all of you. So I have been watching lately. Okay, we just spent the last hour and a half talking about traditional witchcraft and Wicca. Okay, and I'm going to say it one last time because clearly not enough of you heard me. Modern day Wicca is not, nor will it ever be, witchcraft. It cannot be, it is not, I don't give a fuck. You can incorporate witchcraft into it, but it is not, nor will it ever be, witchcraft. You can call yourself a witch if you practice the witchcraft elements of it within the religion itself, but because I have a chance that some of you won't or don't, it is not witchcraft. Witchcraft is not a religion. No shit. There. That's my controversy. Hour and a half up. And we're good. Question. Thank fucking God. What sources do you use for divination? I'm curious. Well, thank you for asking such a fantastic question. Fire reading, tarot cards, candle wax. I like to call upon my deities, my many, I have one, and my demons, call upon the spirits, figure out what the fuck's going on in this person's life. You know, I had a lady comment on one of my community posts. This gal is just having a rough time. She doesn't know what's happening in her life. She's confused, emotionally devastated. All kinds of things that have happened to her. And she wanted me to do some divination for her, so I did some divination today. This woman's got the Morgon up in her. Not literally. But it's just this big upheaval, this big change is happening. A lot of crazy stuff has been happening lately, and a lot of people are blaming it on Mercury retrograde, and it's really annoying. You're letting a planet control your life. There are magical systems out there where planets literally do control your life. But most of these people picked up on Mercury retrograde from some boiled down new agey concept, and it just sparks fear in the hearts of every witch out there. You people are so dumb. I don't dispute the fact that Mercury retrograde is a thing. I just dispute the way it's being portrayed in social media. I can't even see Ravenways disagreeing with that. What charms for divinations work best for telepathic answers for you? Bitch, I get answers all the time. I'm sitting here right now and I have 4 conversations going on in my head. And no, I'm not schizophrenic or have multiple personality disorder. That is another thing that I wanted to talk about. People who talk about their deities or their spirits talking to them. You have conversations with them. People, when you talk about that on YouTube, people think it's fake or want to come for you, or I mean, they just want to start senseless drama, obviously, but these same people tend to have YouTube channels talking about witchcraft. So that leads me to ask these same people, how do you believe in witchcraft if you don't believe that somebody could have fucking 4 conversations going on in their head and they really wish it would stop? Thank you. We good? Great. Jesus. I don't really use charms for divination. I think when you develop a relationship with certain entities, just fucking pop up. Like, hi! And it's like, no, go away. I'm busy. Nobody fucking cares. Take a number, sit down. So I haven't been watching too much witchy stuff lately because I have been watching that whole Shane Dawson palette thing. And there's apparently lots of drama around there, so on and so forth. And then it got me thinking about, like, because the beauty community is so small on YouTube, but so vast and easy to dig down into. But the witchcraft community on YouTube is difficult. It seems to hit roadblocks. And you know how in the very first video of this, like, 3-part series we've been doing so far, I talked about how there is no witchy community. It's a community that is walled off in a lot of aspects because it tends to start with the fluffy and you start digging down a little bit and you can only get so far but you know on the other side of that wall that there's more. The beauty community is kind of like that, but you have a lot more bigger, influential beauty gurus, and then you can find smaller channels from there. With the witchy community, you don't have that. You don't have those bigger named channels that you can then jump off of. Like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you go to Ravenways' channel and you click on channels, I think she has that turned off. I know a lot of other witches in the community do, because they don't want people to see who they follow. But I think that if you are a, and this is just my opinion, so just calm the fuck down, everybody. But I think, as witches, if you have over a certain number of subscribers, and you're subscribed to smaller YouTube channels that are witchy, you should show us. Let us see those channels, because that's how we develop a community. We subscribe to other witches, and then the people who are watching us want to see similar content. So they click on that channels page, but you ain't got nothing. So they don't know any other types of witches like you. Now, I was using Ravenways there for as an example, but I don't know if she does have the channel section turned off. But, you know, the bigger you get, the more influential you become, and people want to see other people like you. It helps you grow, and it helps other people grow. And I think we should all do that. Do it. Okay. Normally I got dead people or deities in front of me when it comes to communication. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you? I can't hear them, but I feel them. Spells and spells, on the other hand, they just pop into my head. That's how spells work for me. They pop into my brain. But it's the spirits that are telling me what spells to be doing. And they're usually dead people. Or bits and pieces of energy that flow through the air and intersect with my brain, and there we go. My grimoire is full of different types of spells. All kinds of spells. Spells for money. Spells for protection. Spells for cursing. Meals. There's meals in there. Rituals for dancing with the dead. An oil of the dead. There's all kinds of spells and rituals in there. It's a fucking fascinating place. Not necessarily. YouTube later, you know, it says blah blah. Watchers also watch this. Let people have their privacy to avoid being judged. You telling? Excuse me? Excuse me. Oh, this bitch. Why are you on YouTube then if you want your privacy so badly? That's the other thing that I'm really confused about in the witchy community, the supposed witchy community that doesn't exist. I'm a witch, but I'm never going to talk about my practice. But everything I do is witchy. You're not really helping anybody. I'm not really sure how you fit into the... That would be like me being like, hi guys, I'm a beauty guru and I do all kinds of makeup, but today we're going to do witchcraft. So you're not going to do any beauty guru related stuff. You're just going to do something completely indifferent. That makes it also harder for people to find witches to watch. Like, it's fine if you're like, you know, lots of witchy content, you got some vlog stuff in there, like whatever. But if you're just getting on YouTube and you're like, look, I'm gonna like stare at a wall and talk about my living situation. You're not a witch. What? And like every video that you upload is some weird non-witchcraft related video, but you're a witch and you're in the witchy community and your videos are popping up because other witches have apparently watched you. Are they just watching your life fall apart and shatter before their eyes? Like, are they waiting for the ultimate train wreck? Right? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, no, get out. That's really mean to say. Like, you might be a witch, you might actually practice, but like, again, that would be like me going in and into the beauty community saying I'm going to do beauty stuff, and then I just sit there and talk about my life for 20 minutes and have nothing to do with beauty or makeup or anything of that. Like, no, you wouldn't do that. My argument there is about that there's not enough teachers. There's not enough people who teach or talk about the craft. There's not enough exposure of the type of stuff that we do because people are too afraid of what other people will say. Well, all the trolls in the community have left. YouTube's fine now. The witchy community is fine. You guys can come out and start making videos now. There's no drama in the community. There's no people calling other people out. There's no more spoof videos. None of that exists anymore. It hasn't for a while. The big names in the drama part of the witchy community are gone. They deleted their channels. They're gone. Come out of the shadows, start making videos. It's perfectly safe now. This is what we need. We need more people making videos. We need more people talking about their craft. We don't need more people talking about their miserable, pathetic life, even though I have 5 episodes of that coming up at some point when I can edit my videos. But we need more witchcraft. That's what we're missing. We're missing bodies. I'm not seeking privacy. I'm just saying, yes, what you're preaching has nothing to do with who you're subscribed to. Everything that I'm preaching has everything to do with everything. YouTube guides its viewers. You don't need to follow who you follow. Oh, girl. That's not what I'm saying, little sister. I'm just listening to what you have to share. I'm not trying to argue, but I have learned much from the Lady Grave Dancer. He supposedly left. It's not supposedly. She made a video on her Facebook video, like a video with what's her face, Gabby, and they were literally saying they were leaving. It was recommended by YouTube through seeing, and I've never once tried to learn more by who she follows. You've never once tried to learn more by who she follows. Never once dived into who she follows to see if they have anything that could expand upon or touch on, clarify a little bit, or maybe they're similar. That's how community grows. Yes, there's that whole fucking YouTube side scrolly thing where it's like, hey, you've been watching cats hump for 2 hours, so we're gonna fill your whole homepage with videos that are recommended where people talk about it and people post pictures and people. Yeah, you can do that. Do that all you want. That's a great way to find people. I do that with Minecraft sometimes, and then my whole homepage is all Minecraft. But what I'm saying is that there's not enough witches anymore. When there were bigger names, it was easier to find other witches. Because those witches that you might be interested to would be subscribed to that big name. And then you could learn new ideas and new concepts on your journey through witchcraft, whatever form that is. But we don't have that anymore because the big names are gone. And some of the up and coming names don't share that information. So it makes it really difficult to find other witches of similar content. Now, as you binge watch, I don't know if any of you do, but some people will binge watch a whole channel, and yeah, you'll get all kinds of recommendations. But let's say that you were looking up a particular subject, and let's say Bob's channel came up, and he's got 60,000 subscribers. He's talking about it, and you're like, this is really fascinating. And you type the subject into the YouTube thinking you'll find more videos, but it's mostly just Bob. Not a lot of other witchy videos. So then you decide to watch more of Bob's videos to see if he'll talk more about the subject, but then you find out that you really don't like Bob. You really don't. So then you can't find other content creators. That is my whole argument. I can breathe now. So I've decided to, as people have put it in the chat, to teach my craft. And the way that I thought I would start is by doing this little series of videos to give the realities of what the witchy community on social media is like. If you've been following along for all of these live videos, there is a very common thread throughout. We tell you there is no witchy community, vaguely, but then tell you now why there is no witchy community. Because you can't find anybody. Unless you know what you're looking for, or you've binge watched somebody's entire channel, or at least enough of their videos that YouTube's algorithm thing starts spilling out more witchy channels. But then you also have to realize that not every witch tags their videos. See, when you upload a video, you get an option to tag your videos. And if you use terms like witchcraft, money spell, stuff like that, it's going to get discovered. People are going to start watching your stuff. So that's another reason why we don't have it. The other reason why there isn't really any big named witches out there right now, aside from a couple, is because of the inconsistent upload schedule. See, if you look at other communities, a lot of people upload once a week. But people in the witchy community are mostly adults with lives. And YouTube is not their living. So because we don't upload as much, we don't get discovered as much. The more you upload, the more it gets shoved in people's faces. The more chances that they'll want to click on it. So when you're a new witch journeying through and trying to figure out what type of witch you are, it's almost very difficult unless you pick something that's popular. Watching a variety of channels gives you more perspective. Yes, but you have to find those channels. Now, it might be easy, depending on your path. You might type in your path into YouTube and find 1,000 channels. with lots of great content. You know, for me, I mostly tag a lot of my videos as traditional and folkloric magic. It is. It's very traditional. It's very grassroots, dirty, bayou. So once you start finding the channels that you want to watch, you get an idea, a concept of how to do your first spell, what your first spell should be about. I mean, your first spells can be whatever the fuck you want it to be about. It can be about protection for your cat. I don't give a fuck. But you can see how this journey is beginning to evolve. You found your identity as a witch. And now you've started to find some resources. Now, as I did state earlier, unless you pick one of the more popular versions of witchcraft that is out there, it is much, much more difficult to find witchy videos that fit your path. It's not impossible, it's just more difficult. That's where I think a lot more people should start coming to YouTube. I know a lot of my subscribers watch me and don't have channels, and they're witches. Everybody has a reason for not joining. But for those of you who are thinking about it or on the fence, do it. Because the more of us that there are, the easier it is to find the type of content you want to watch. Especially if you're somebody who's more eclectic in their path. And I'm not talking about like an eclectic witch. I fucking hate eclectic witches. I'm talking about people who are interested in different types of magical systems and are constantly learning. Because if you make a YouTube channel where you are eclectic in that sense, it will be harder for people to find you. That's why I would suggest people to go down at least one path. Now, when I tell people to go down the Wiccan path, and I have spent like an hour and a half bitching about Wiccans, I'm talking about going down the more ceremonial aspects of it, the more practical, hands-on approach, as opposed to the earthy, sunshine bullshit. I really need to smoke another bowl. Go down the more ceremonial, practical aspect of it, the more ritualistic, solitary if you want, coven if you want, whatever kind of path. You will learn so much. And you will find a lot of videos of that on YouTube. There are lots of videos of lots of different subjects, but I think some of us practice a more, at least from what I've seen in my comment section, a lot of us practice in a very similar circle. It's like a galaxy. We're in the same galaxy. We're different planets, but we're in the same galaxy. I'm the fucking sun. But we're all in the same galaxy, right? Our solar system. There you go. We're all in the same solar system. I'm Jupiter and the sun. Solitary Luna can be the Earth. But it's fascinating. Because when you start finding this content, you start finding out how people practice. You get an inside look. Now, you have to keep in mind that when you are starting out, you have to be careful. There's a lot of false information out there. So don't just take the Lady Grave Dancer's videos that she's re-uploaded as the gospel. Don't do that. Don't take her content as gospel. Don't take anybody's content as gospel. If you're sitting there and you're like, I'm gonna take your content as gospel, you're stupid. You should unsubscribe. Plain and simple. Bye-bye. Everything on YouTube is, some of it can be very educational. Some of it can be very educational, very enlightening, and very eye-opening. And you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to find a lot of different paths that you want to go down, and that's going to be amazing. But you're also going to have to figure out how to weave out all of the bullshit. You should go into acting. Well, besides witchcraft, you're handsome and entertaining. I'm also Elsa. Okay, Amy, there can only be one Elsa, and it's me. Okay, so what did we talk about tonight? Let's wrap this up. Okay, we rambled about a lot of things. Wicca is not witchcraft. Witchcraft is not a religion. Traditional witches, some of them in the community seem to be very offended because modern day or modernized bullshit Wicca, that is more new agey and hippy dippy, is trying to call itself witchcraft, and it's imposing in on their territory, and they're getting called old, and that their ways are not modern, and all this other bullshit. So aside from all of that drama, assuming that you were a Wiccan who wanted to practice witchcraft, you would have to find out what kind of witch you are interested in being. And then from there, you can start researching that type of witch. And most people will go to YouTube because they want a visual representation of what it is that they're interested in. And that's why these 3 videos have really centered around YouTube, because that is where a majority of us are. We are on YouTube. We are sharing our craft. We cannot define our craft. No person here can say this right here, this thing is witchcraft, because everything that we do is witchcraft. I've talked about that when you start finding somebody, I brought up this concept of people, their channel section is turned off. And I said, it's not, it makes it really difficult for people who are trying to find similar or like-minded content without having to binge an entire channel to find other types of content that are similar, especially if their search is pretty specific, because most people will be specific. Then you've got the witches who don't tag their channels and so on and so forth. So the community is small and scattered and spread throughout. But the good news is that all the trolls and the idiots and the drama and all of that stuff is gone, literally gone. Their channels are deleted, all of that fun stuff. So at the end of the day, when you're navigating social media as a new witch, specifically as a Wiccan who's not a fluffy new ager and who is more interested in the witchcraft aspect of the religion, and they want to define themselves as a witch, they're going to look on social media. And it becomes a complex web. That's why I suggest a lot of people to go down the Wiccan path. And when I say the Wiccan path, I'm talking the more ceremonial Buckland style, the more ritualistic aspect, the more spellcraftian type of thing, so that they can develop a sense of their own craft and then grow from there. Okay? Does that make sense? I fucking hope it does.